Welcome back. So we've set our goal for the unit and decided what we'd like the students to learn in the long run. And we've also accessed the prior knowledge of our students to figure out where they are right now and how much they know. So we've done our little informal assessment. And now we're ready to dive into the pages of the Oxford Picture Dictionary and start our lesson. So I have the pages that talk about the body parts. And as you may remember, there are two word boxes that have the vocabulary words with a subsequent number labeled next to them. And the number is also attached to the image so that you know what the vocabulary word means. So to teach this, I would give a handout to my students that has all of the words listed on the handout that they can write on. They can translate, they can draw a picture, they can write a little definition, whatever it is that helps them remember the meaning of the word. And then we will read through together and make sure that everybody says the word aloud and that they are pronouncing it correctly and that they are connecting the word to the image so that they understand the meaning. So my goal right now for them is to get introduced to the word, to see it written, to hear it spoken, to speak it themselves, and to connect the meaning to the image. I like using this book because it depicts a diverse group of people doing everyday activities in rich images that you can really talk a lot about and you can expand upon using the language that's offered in the book. So in this particular picture, they are showing people at a park. So with just this two-page spread alone, there are a lot of language opportunities. I can ask questions, I can ask WH questions. Where are the people? What are they doing? And my students now have a chance to produce language and talk about what's happening in the picture. We can use descriptors and practice adjectives. And we can talk about what people are wearing or what color are their hair or their eyes or things like that. We can also practice verbs. There's a lot of action going on in this picture. There's someone jogging, people sitting, people looking, people doing exercises. So we can talk about that. We can also practice prepositions. We have prepositions of place, so we can describe where everything is in this picture. So those things alone, they might be some review of concepts that we've learned before, but now we're also taking the new vocabulary and we're integrating that into our conversation and our lesson as well. So just taking those two pages will actually take up a good chunk of my lesson as we just talk about what's happening in the picture. Then at the bottom of the page, they have the idea of the Simon Says type game again, where you point to something and have the student either label it and provide the word themselves, or doing some more receptive questioning and say point to the chest, point to the back, and they have to find that in the picture. There are some dictations where you can have people practice writing things down, so if your students need to practice their writing, they can do it that way. And there are lots of grammar exercises that we could do too. And we can do imperatives where we say, please touch your right foot, put your hands on your feet. We can also practice tenses, so we could do past, present, future. We could do plurals. I could say raise your hand or raise your hands. We can also practice giving commands to each other. So students could get in pairs and they could start telling each other to touch your elbow, point to your foot, and then they'll have to test each other. So these are just some activities that we could do with these two pages alone. And in our next video, we're going to look at some outside materials that we could bring in to also add to this lesson.